Alicia here with SHEP and REbox along with Jen. We are excited because we get to talk to Vanessa from ProRea Staffing today here on our podcast. So we're going to be talking to her about what it looks like for businesses right now when managing your teams, whether you're hiring, whether you're having to release team members, whether you're trying to manage the right talent. We're going to talk to her about that. We're also going to dive into their new platform that launches very soon to the public, and it is called HireLab. And she, along with Kathleen Metcalf, have designed and developed an amazing resource for business owners. So she's going to dive in, tell us all about those details, and we'll talk to her soon.
First of all, obviously filling us in on who you are and telling us what ProRea is all about, and then also how specifically you are handling the pandemic right now with ProRea and how you're there to help.
Yeah, sure. So for the last 15 years, I've worked as a recruiter in the real estate space. So I've most definitely placed more real estate assistants in real estate offices than anybody else. And I have a team of recruiters who work with me. We all work virtually. I get to work from Spain, which has been a wonderful gift. And we are really passionate about helping real estate agents not just find the right person, but really navigate the whole hiring process and the onboarding process so that they can be successful with their hires. I just find that it's a very different experience working with real estate agents who are not natural managers. To find this person who's going to work right next to them every single day. It's such an important hire, and they need hand-holding at every stage of the process. And so my entire career has been focused on how do we do this better for this community. And we'll talk about HireLab later, which is the latest evolution of how we help agents go through this process successfully.
Amazing. I don't know why, but I had no idea that you were in Spain. I should have noticed from the plug behind you.
Yep,
A fellow non-US, always hiding plugs, so no one can really tell. I had no idea you were in Spain. That's amazing. So what brought you to Spain?
Yeah. My husband and I lived in Italy earlier in our life together. And then eventually we came back to the States, and around 2016, we just looked at each other and we were like, it's time to go back to Europe. So we landed in Portugal, didn't love where we were in Portugal, found our way to Spain. And then we found this school that we're in love with for our son. And we ended up in this little town called Girona. And we've been here for 2 years now and have no plans to leave, which is amazing because before we found this place, we had moved every year for about 10 years, like big moves, like Costa Rica to Hawaii to, crazy moves. So yeah, it's been nice to find our place in the world.
It's nice to meet somebody else that lives a very similar lifestyle, because we move every 6 months. It's back to the States and then somewhere new in Europe. So we've been, Hungary, Germany, Austria, Denmark. We're in the UK right now, but we kind of wonder when my husband's career is done, which is why we move so much, if we're going to back to the States and miss it and end up moving back here. So
yeah, well, you and I need to go and have a glass of wine and a virtual chat one of these days, because it is quite the thing. I mean, I can't imagine every 6 months doing it. Once a year was hard enough.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I know you mentioned before about HireLab, and Jen and I have had the inside look into what it is. I'm really excited about it. It seems really cool.
Excited.
So fill us in if someone's just hearing about HireLab. First of all, what is it doing April 21st? What is it providing for people?
Yeah, so let me back up just a little bit, because I think it's important to share why it came to fruition. So as a recruiter, we guarantee our placements, and every time a placement doesn't work out, that is, that's expense and frustration on everybody's part. And so for years, I've been studying, what is the common denominator? When nobody hires somebody who they think isn't going to work out, everybody starts a new placement with the best of intentions, and then things go wrong. So what are those reasons? And so I was tracking that for a few years, and what it came down to, unless we're talking about behavioral issues on the part of the agent or the hire, right? Or life issues. If we're just talking about best of intentions, two people come together and it doesn't work. What are the reasons? Well, on both sides, those reasons can be traced back to a mismatch in either job fit, culture fit, or goal fit. And And so understanding that changed our perspective on how we grade candidates and how we make sure that they're a good match for our clients. And that was really the foundational piece of building the HireLab course, which is what HireLab is, an online course. It's about 3 hours worth of video and then a whole hiring toolbox of forms, checklists, email templates, literally everything you would need to hire on your own. And I created it out of, one, a desire to share this information and share a methodology that we use to make sure we make successful hires, but also out of a frustration of seeing other hiring courses that really didn't make sense. Like there is a process that you need to follow when you hire that needs to be methodical, but it doesn't have to take 20 hours. And, it doesn't have to step over the line of being too personal and invasive. And so that's what we created, because I want people to have these tools to be able to hire on their own, because not everybody needs to hire a recruiter or wants to hire a recruiter to fill their role. So HireLab, again, is a course, but then attached to it, we have something that we call candidate screening services. So these are a la carte recruiting services for 5 key points during a search. So for example, we can write the job ad. We write really great job ads that are SEO optimized. We know how to speak to different types of people to attract the right people to your job. So we can do that. We do phone interviews. We do video interviews and skill assessments, reference checking, and then we can write the offer letter, and we work with an HR consultants to actually draft those offer letters. So you can do everything on your own, or you can get help with these pieces of your search and find the person you need within your budget, which was the point of pulling that together. And I don't know if the timing is fortunate or tragic, but we're launching everything on April 21st, and at a time when on my retained search side, everybody's on pause.
You touched on a couple of points I'm really excited about, just being a small business owner, totally switching my role out of, all the other crazy, but just small business owner. You're exactly right. I think there are a lot of different systems out there. And I also think right now, small business owners more than ever before are maxed out on time, so we all know that the economy will come back. We all know that we will need to hire again. We all know that there is opportunity, and that means that we will be rebuilding our workforce. I just don't see myself spending the amount of time on hiring, and just like you said, I also don't know that financially, with everything that's happened with COVID, if I would be able to afford a recruiter. So that's the piece that I'm super excited about with this, is that where a recruiter would just be out of, we just couldn't do it in my business. And I know I'm not the only one. Yeah. I can definitely look at something like HireLab and still not have to do it on my own. And I think that's the piece that I'm so excited about with this, because it's kind of that middle place where you're not really left out on your own to fend for yourself, but it's something that works in this time perfectly. So the launch is a little bit weird, but at the same point, I think it's so amazing to give back and really help people right now in this time. And that's what I really like about it.
Well, thank you for that. And yeah, I am really passionate about helping people be successful at this part of the process. And Jen, you and I have talked about this over and over. I mean, the thing that I love about my job is helping people get to the next level in their life or career or business. It's not really about the recruiting piece. And this really allows me to support more people through this really important part of their business. And, I'm the visionary person, and I place these implementers, these force multipliers, if you want to use, from Hallie's book, Found the Force Multiplier. And I'm so in awe of these people. Yeah. I love the kind of candidates that we place, and I love helping other leaders and visionaries find this person who helps them execute everything they want to do. And that's because I'm so fortunate. I have that. I have my Liza, and my life is very different now that I've had Liza for 7 years versus before. And I want other people to have that experience, because I talk to people every day who've been through multiple assistants. They're frustrated. They have a low level of trust, low expectations about what is possible in this relationship. And then to watch somebody get the right person in that seat and see what a profound difference that makes in their life is incredibly gratifying. So I'm excited to do that for as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
And Jen kind of answered specifically during this pandemic, which one you might lean towards, but outside of this pandemic, as a business owner, what would make me maybe fit HireLab or fit ProRea better?
Really good question. So on the ProRea side with retained search, this is completely full service. We learn everything we need to learn about the job. We write the job ad, we pay for the job ads, we review the candidates, we source candidates, and you don't see anybody until they've been through a multi-step screening process. So your level of involvement is incredibly low, and we guarantee the candidate for a time period after they're placed. So it's for that person who's incredibly busy, can afford to have a recruiter work on their search, and really just wants the bottom line. HireLab is for somebody who either needs to be or really wants to be more hands-on in their search, because they can play red light, green light with their budget. They can have us do some tasks, but not others. They can switch halfway through and say, oh, okay, pulling my hands up, you handle all the phone interviews, I can't do any more of these, or vice versa. And so it gives them a guide through the process while allowing them to be in control of the process.
When I'm thinking about obviously using somebody else to help me with hiring, I look at it in the sense of how much time can I save? What can I get with a better fit? And obviously the money aspect. Do you have stats based off of if I were to go out and try to hire on my own versus using either HireLab or ProRea, how that makes a difference in either the quality of hire, the longevity in the fact that maybe I'm spending a little bit more up front, but I'm saving because I'll have this person longer? Do you guys have any numbers?
Yes. So I did a study a few years ago, and based on my numbers, there's about a 50% turnover in admin staff in real estate every year. To give you perspective, a healthy every business coach I've said that number to goes, no, it's way worse than that.
Yeah.
But to give you perspective, a healthy company should have about a 10% turnover rate per year, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a massive issue with this process in the real estate industry. And I mean, I can't speak to other industries, but I would imagine any business where a salesperson is also managing people, the stats are probably pretty similar, because this is not in their genius zone, right? So the hiring the right person is part of the step, but then you have to train and onboard and manage them, even if you don't want to do those things, because you can, I've seen it way too many times. We have a really fantastic candidate who's been very successful in multiple jobs. They are fantastic. Agent, well-meaning, wants to do a great job growing their team. You put them together and they implode. You find out later that there weren't clear expectations. There was poor communication. There were promises that weren't kept. So, we can look at my success rate in placing people, but that doesn't really tell the whole story if the candidate isn't provided the opportunity to be successful. Which is why I work with a woman named Kathleen Metcalf, which you guys know well. So Kathleen is a coach and trainer who helps to train and onboard new hires. And when we started working together a few years ago, something really amazing happened. My success rate, the number of people who hit the 90-day mark, went up significantly. And now, because not everybody chooses to coach with her, I can see there's about a 20% difference, maybe 25% difference sometimes, between the level of success between someone who coaches with her and someone who doesn't. I mean, it's massive. Yeah. And so now I require my clients to use her, or I reduce the length of my guarantee. Because why would I guarantee and pay all the money it's going to cost me to replace somebody when it's your fault that it didn't work out, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's sort of what we're dealing with. We can talk about hiring and the decision-making process, but that is really only half of the story.
Well, and I'm going to jump in here because I have been in real estate for a long time. And so I have been with various teams as they've used recruiters, not ProRea. And the process, and this is something, because you're using words that I don't think people understand what they mean as far as full service, because I have worked with a lot of different recruiters in the real estate arena, and their idea of recruiting, and for those of you listening, those are bunny ears. The idea of recruiting is, I'm going to get a list of candidates that then I have to coordinate appointments. I have to call, I have to set up, I have to ask the questions. And you did a very cursory being brutally honest, I could have a member of my team do it in a short amount of time. So I think we need to expand on what you mean by full service, you know, and the difference in that, you know, because I think when you just say that, people in real estate like me are going to go, oh yeah, I've already done that and know I can do it on my own.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between what we do to vet candidates. And I work with a coach who works with other recruiter business owners. And when I told him what we do and what we charge, he like practically fell out of his chair. He goes, nobody does all of that. So this is what this looks like. We do our intake, which is a very detailed conversation with your full recruiting team. So we have a team of people who work on every search. We have our marketing manager write a custom job ad. We do a phone interview. If we like them, then we have them do a short skill assessment. We're checking for things like attention to detail, writing skills, and anything that's very specific to that job. They're all custom skill assessments that are hand graded because we want to see problem solving and logic. Then we do a recorded video interview, which lasts about 20 minutes. And then if we still like them and we want to move them forward, we have them take the DISC behavioral assessment. And we don't use the free version. We've tried that. It's the one that you get online for free just is not as accurate as the one we use. And trust me, if we could get away with a free version of the DISC, we would, but we don't because it makes a difference. So when a client gets a candidate from us, they're getting a recorded video interview, the candidate's skill assessment, their DISC behavioral profile, and a professional's assessment of this candidate. Now, before we even get to that point, we have a full-time sourcer. And her job all day, every day is to reach out to passive candidates and have conversations with them. So we're not just posting ads and waiting for people to apply. We're actively hunting for candidates and building relationships with candidates. And we have a database of over 60,000 candidates at this point, all in real estate. So then if the client says, yes, I'm interested in this candidate, we're scheduling those interviews. We're providing interview questions. Because I have all of this training material, when a client is interested and will watch it, I have videos on every step of the process. This is how we want you to conduct your interview to talk about their DISC profile, for example. We teach this process called a day in the life interview, where we want the candidate to come in for a longer interview, do some in-office skill assessments so that you can see with your own eyes that they do things the way that you think they should be done. Because I can tell you that just because somebody was a TC in another office doesn't mean they TC the way you think it needs to be done. And you will be upset to find out later that they don't do it your way. So look at it and see. And then also give them and you a chance to see if the culture fit is right. Does it feel good to work next to each other? Are they easily distracted? Do they ask good questions? This is a chance for them to talk to any other stakeholders that they'll work with, or talk to your broker in your office or your business coach and really spend some time together before you check their references. And then we teach something called the alignment interview, which is an opportunity to just go through and double check all the boxes. So for example, hey, you've done the commute 3 times now. How was it? Yeah. Can you do that every day? My expectation is that you'll be here at 9 a.m. every morning. Is that something you can commit to? And yes, you've probably already talked about this, but it doesn't hurt to say it again. And things like, I know we talked about what availability on the weekend looks like, but let's talk about that one more time. This is my expectation. Can you meet it? And so we have a whole script and an outline for how we want our client to conduct this conversation with their candidate. And this is super powerful. This is how, back in the day, 3 months ago, when it was super competitive and all of our candidates had multiple offers, this is how we got our clients to win with their best candidate, because we would show them how to set their expectations, talk about their vision for the company, talk about their goals for the company, and also the candidate's goals for their life and their finances and their profession, and how this hiring manager was going to help them reach those goals. So we go through this whole process so that by the time that offer letter is submitted, that candidate is totally bought in. There are no surprises in the offer letter, and then they're set up for success. We write the offer letter, we present it. So when we talk about full service, that's what full service looks like.
And that's exactly where I wanted you to explain that, because I do think there's people out there. I think there's a lot of small business owners that are feeling the pinch of finances, but I also think there's a lot of small business owners that, honest to God, just can't handle one more thing, but may need to hire. And this would obviously be something that is an excellent return on their investment too. So I don't want to minimize that just because we have HireLabs. You know, if you truly are a small business owner, I just want them to understand this truly is full service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for helping me clarify that, Jen. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm here for you. We'll work on your elevator pitch later.
Thank you.
I think too, right now, the conversations that I've had with a lot of different business owners, even outside of real estate, there's a lot of business owners that are sitting back and taking time and looking at their business, looking at the team that they have, looking at the business that they've built, the systems they've got in place. And I've heard, you know, quite a few. I am not one of them. I have been greatly blessed with the team that we have, but I've heard a few of them say, you know, this has really shown me I don't think I have the right team in place, because I don't have the right team to get through this, whether that's a cultural asset, whether that's a, you know, a mindset of drive and not, you know, diving down into fear-based things, whatever that may be. I've heard it all in the past just week, even just people going, you know, I think I actually need this type of a role, or I need this type of personality to balance out this other personality. And just a lot more dive into that, where people are sitting around thinking about this stuff, where people have been maybe on the go. I was talking to a construction owner the other day, and he's just like, honestly, I've been on the go for 5 years. I haven't even had a chance to sit down and really look at the culture and the team that I've built up. And I think there just might need to be some changes after this. So I think right now is a great time to really dive into using either a recruiter or a resource like HireLab. I think it's really important.
Well, because I think it's one of those things as a small business owner, you said it perfectly. You would, in a lot of areas, you wouldn't have a sales manager hiring an admin, right? You would have a senior admin hiring an admin, or you would have something else. And I think when you get into the real estate world, we do a lot with a few people. And so we're all doing these dual roles. But it's not natural. You know, hiring is a process. Hiring is a system. And just like anything else, you can either spend the time to learn and educate yourself to a high level to build out your own system, or you can find a system that's already working really, really well and just adopt that, you know, and that's the piece that I really like, because it isn't, I don't think there's very many naturally talented people in hiring in the small business community.
Well, so one of the reasons we started doing the recorded video interview is our candidates would come back from their interview and they would say, well, we had a nice conversation, but I mean, I don't know how it went. And the client would say, well, we had a nice conversation, but I didn't learn anything about them. And I'm like, well, you spent an hour together. What were you doing? And so we started recording the video interviews to model good interview skills for the client, and to make sure that they got those basic questions answered, so that if they did just have a chit chat once they came into the office, at least they already knew why they moved from job to job and what their goals were, you know, all the things you need to know about a candidate. But Alicia, back to your point about people having a chance to evaluate their teams. I mean, you can wax philosophical about all of this, but I think we've all been, whatever's happening in your life has been amplified for good or for bad, right? And it's been a stress test for everything, every relationship, your lifestyle, your house, your kids, everything is on full display. And yes, I think this is a really good time to really dial in and figure out, do I have the right people in the right places? And if not, this is a golden opportunity to part ways. And I have so many clients who want to pause their search, but what we're telling people is at least have the conversation. People understand that you're not going to present an offer right now, but you're going to have access to talent that you didn't have access to even 2 months ago. I mean, people who never would have considered having a conversation with you are going to be more open to having that conversation and exploring new opportunities. So getting your game face on, figuring out what your plan is going to be when the lockdown is lifted, and starting to have really impactful conversations with the kind of talent you want to build a relationship with. There's no better time to do it.
Absolutely. So I know you mentioned real estate. Do you guys serve any other industries outside of real estate?
We would be open to it. In fact, right now we are recruiting recruiters for a medical recruiting company. Yes, exactly.
Love it.
Yeah. You know, the cobbler's kids have no shoes. You know, it's one of those things. We're really busy recruiting medical people and we need more recruiters. Can you help? But no, our specialty really is in the real estate field, and anything administrative or management level. We don't recruit salespeople. We get that call all the time. We've tried, oh man, it is just a different animal.
Yes.
Agreed.
And it's
Yeah,
not our beast to hunt.
Love it.
Somebody else needs to figure that one out.
Love it. I have a question. So if I'm an admin and maybe just recently I have, you mentioned your 60,000 pool of people that you're looking at. That's really attractive to me if I'm an admin right now and maybe I've just been laid off. So is that something, if I've been a director of operations, executive assistant in the real estate arena, and obviously it's really tough to find other work right now, could I reach out to ProRea and maybe submit my qualifications? Is that something that you guys do?
We do, absolutely. So if you go to proreastaffing.com, you can go to our job board, and if you don't see a job that seems like a good fit, and just to be transparent, there aren't a whole lot of jobs on there at the moment, but there will be soon. And you can just submit a general apply, and that gets you into our database. And one of the things I'm working on, and I should have it, I'll let you know, Jen, when I get this up, but I want to run a couple of workshops to help people prepare to do video interviews.
Love that.
I think there are going to be plenty of people who haven't had to interview in a long time, and this is all going to be new to them. And so we want to help prepare people for that process.
I love that.
ProRea Staffing, HireLab. Where can people find you guys? Social media handles, websites, all of the above.
Yep. So we are pretty active on Facebook. So ProRea Staffing we're really moving that more toward the candidate focused content. And then Hire Like a Boss is the handle for HireLab.
Love
and
that.
The website for HireLab is hire-lab.com. Couldn't get what we wanted. So it's hire-lab.com and ProRea Staffing for candidates.
What else are you guys doing, if anything, to really support during this specific pandemic?
Yeah, so I've been trying to give away ZipRecruiter job ads. So we, and really truly, if you are actually hiring right now and you want to save a little bit of money, we pay for a block of ZipRecruiter job ads or ZipRecruiter ads, and you can have one, no strings attached.
Love it.
I've been offering that. I haven't had a lot of takers, unfortunately, but if you are ready to put a job ad out, 30 days free ZipRecruiter ad, that's $250 you don't have to spend. And that's really just, hey, we're paying for it and we're not using it, so happy to share. And all of those candidates go directly to you. So on the agent side or the business owner side, hopefully that just helps a little bit if you're starting to think about, getting back up and running. On the candidate side, you can always reach out to us if you want us to look at your resume and give you feedback. Definitely follow us on social, because we're always posting stuff that's admin specific. Oh, and our YouTube channel is a really great resource for admins, especially if you want to brush up on your interview skills or really explore different careers in real estate. So that's the ProRea Staffing YouTube channel. And there's just a ton of content about different roles in the real estate office and interview skills and all sorts of good stuff.
Love
there.
that.
A huge thanks to Vanessa for joining us on REbox Power On. We will continue to bring you resources to help your business during the current state of the world. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time.